I'm Matt Braunger. This might help.
I am not a doctor.
This might help.
I'm not a professional.
Let's have fun. This honestly is a good time.
Honestly, I got no idea what I'm doing. What's going on, Corey?
I'm Matt Braunger. This might help. The podcast.
Hey, welcome to This Might Help. If it helps you, great. But hopefully it just makes you laugh. And if you need actual clinical help, you get that. Because all I have on here are people I find fun. Anywho's, I've got an old friend on. Kurt Braunholer is here. And first off, how are you, Kurt? You good?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I got that that kind of settling feeling when the baby's napping. And you kind of have that thing of like, will it take? Like, I know it's fine, but that, 1 out of 100 times where it's just the kid's like, fuck this. But like, I'm chilling, man.
Good. You're looking good. How are you staying fit as a new dad? That seems impossible.
I don't mostly kind of, I do like have a little bit of an exercise regimen, but like it's also a lot of walking, which I'm kind of,
right.
This week kind of sucks because it's the surface of the sun out there right now this week till like Friday. But I mean, you have always looked good though with two. You have two. You have
shut
two
your
babies.
mouth. You shut your thin mouth, Matt Braunger. You shut up. I was speaking of the surface of the sun. I was in the desert yesterday. I was in the desert from Thursday to Monday, and we were like staying at a hotel that had like a water park in the middle of it.
Oh my God!
But it was 116 at like 2 p.m. It just felt so insane. And then to drive back into LA and have it be like that here is. Yeah. Oh boy, we're at end times. What did we do bringing children into this world?
It's damaging. I speaking of children, I have a neighbor I share a fence with
who's a baby.
They have grown like teen kids.
Oh no.
And they have these huge pool parties sometimes, and because they have like a waterfall against the wall in their pool, they turn the music up higher, so we can't hear the water, but the music is like deaf, like crazy. Like middle of the day yesterday, it was like all the hits from like When I Met You, like 2005 or 6, all the hits. Modest Mouse.
Really?
What was that? That group that was fucking everywhere.
Wait. I'm gonna guess it's Mumford and Sons.
No, it was
it. They were everywhere.
It was like it was the theme song of Echo Park at the time, and Management at the time. Yes. That 3 p.m. blaring in like hilariously loud. Where I was like, Kara's out in her office. I was just like, this is stupid, and the music went down, but I literally had to text him and go, hey man, you turn it down. Like an hour late, we get oh hey, sorry, my daughter graduated from high school, so this is a big thing. And I was like, cool, long as this isn't every day for the rest of the summer, I'm fine. It didn't wake the baby. It was just, like this is let's shut those windows and turn on the AC for a while instead of the natural air thing, because it's just like it's just this insane level of noise. So it's hilarious to me, having a kid later in my life, seeing how different people that you live near are with their kids that are typically older.
Yeah.
You had kids before I did, and you're younger than I am. You have 2 daughters.
Am I younger than you? I don't think I am.
I think so.
Probably the same.
Maybe
age.
I'd say like a year, maybe. I was okay. Said nothing. So I mean, technically, pretty much same age.
Yeah.
But you're Gen X, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
No, I've just we're just coming out of like the shit show. We're still in it's getting slightly better. It's getting slightly better. Like 2 is really like pretty fucking crazy. And it's just Gus is like, once Gus hits 2, like once we hit September, I think it's gonna be like much smoother sailing. But it's still like he's just he's intensely obsessed with diving into the toilet head first. And so if you like don't watch him for like 3 seconds, you just hear and it's like, and then we keep all the toilet seats down and keep all the bathroom doors closed. So if you hear like and you hear the door open, and then you hear him flip the toilet seat up and then jump in. And I think he just wants to get his hands wet, but in order to get his hands in there, he has to dive in. So then the toilet seat the lid comes back down on his back. So then you run around the corner and there's just a kid, legs up, toilet seat on his back. And he's just so happy. And you like, it's like, I need to read more parenting books because I don't know how to get him to stop. Like if I say like, no, like don't do this, he's just, he's laughing at me. Yeah. There's no getting through to him. I don't understand.
And that's a great like slapstick bit.
Yeah, it's so funny. He loves slapstick bits. Another one of his bits, he does bits, is that like the other day I was looking and I couldn't find him and I freaked out for a second. I was like, Gus. And then I just see the cupboard. I just see 2 little shoes at the bottom of the cupboard. And he had closed himself into the cupboard and was just waiting for me to, like, he was not making any noise. He wasn't like pushing it open and close. He was just waiting. And then when I opened it up, he's just like, ah! And I was like, it's a classic bit. That's a classic bit.
That's a solid bit. My friend's kid used to pretend he was asleep or dead. Like he would lay on the couch with eyes closed and my friend would sit next to him and like read a book and he'd be like, I'm not asleep, like yell, I'm not asleep. Like, Jesus.
Asleep or dead is the most terrifying game to play
for a child to play. The meanest prank. Well, I was excited to have you on because we were like became like, I felt like immediate brothers in arms at these weird festivals.
Yeah.
Because we were both liked a good time and both kind of loved comedy, but I think one reason our comedy is good is that we never took it all that seriously, if that makes any sense, where it's like, yeah, I'm going to get a lot of sets in, but when am I going to be back to this town? I want to see what's going on in this town. And you know, like when every time you were at Bridgetown, you like would create like big outings for people to come on and stuff like that. I mean, I feel like you've kind of been like a comedy adventurer as long as
thank you. I like that idea. Yeah, well, we did blindfold 45 people on a bus and bring them somewhere they'd never been before in Portland. So yeah, that definitely fits into that idea. That was a really fun day. That was for people listening, it was an old podcast I had called Get Lost, where I would blindfold comics and take them places, and you can listen to it if you wanted to. It's still out there. But yeah,
and it's a great idea. And I remember, you know, meeting when I first met you, you got around New York in a longboard, like a long skateboard that you carried with you everywhere you went. And I was always impressed with that because I was always terrible at skateboarding. I loved it. I liked it mostly to get around. And everybody, and this was like junior high, a little bit of high school, but like everybody I knew was, you know, they could do tricks and stuff and go up walls and things. And I would always hurt myself anytime I tried.
Yeah.
I liked getting around. So I was like, oh, cool. This other tall guy with a high center of gravity as well is getting around town in this board, which it was kind of thing. It was like, if I lived in a small town, sure, maybe, but like the New York City, the heavyweight champion of the world in terms of, you know, large towns. I was like, gee, wow, you know.
But you know what you have to remember about New York City, which is very different from LA. For biking and for skating, the traffic doesn't move. It just is standstill on most, you know, like almost everywhere at all times. It's just standstill. So you're just going past things, as opposed to in LA where people don't know that human beings exist outside of cars when they're in a car.
Yes. And they have
just fucking cruising. Yeah.
So they just zip, like just jump on and I gotta go. Yeah. 80 Bryant made me laugh. And she said like when she first got hired on SNL, it was like, she was like, I don't think I have time to take the train. I'll just take a cab. Like 5 times more fucked.
What a joke. Yeah.
That's a really good point. It does stand still. But you're from New Jersey. You're from the Jersey Shore, aren't you?
I am indeed. Neptune and Asbury Park, New Jersey.
Right on. Right on. Yeah, I feel like it's that's got to be weird where people have a rock solid ingrained image in their minds of what they think the Jersey Shore is.
And it's fine. That's fine with me, honestly,
Okay.
because what's also interesting, because it probably keeps people away. Um, and that's good for the Jersey Shore. I mean, like, not good for tourism and stuff. But what's interesting about the Jersey Shore is that none of those people on any iteration of the Jersey Shore, not a single one of them, most of them, 90% of them is not from New Jersey. That's the thing.
Huh.
They're from Long Island and they're from New York.
Okay.
And then they're coming down to the shore. So it is literally the worst of the worst exported from Long Island and New York to come and pollute the Jersey Shore.
That's
Um,
that makes I was kind of when you hear something kind of horrible and you kind of laugh because
yeah,
you're twisted inside, but also just because you're going, oh. Specifically, I was talking about the influx. I was lucky enough to go do a gig in Nantucket 2 years ago, and it was interesting to meet people that were there year round, or people that just rented houses, or people that owned houses that they rented out. Like, it was kind of, to get the kind of the lay of the land. But once COVID hit and we were all locked down, I read that very, very wealthy New Yorkers were flying to their vacation homes or Airbnb in and just flooding the island of Nantucket. And locals were like, we're going to murder you. Get out of our town. Like, they would yell in people's faces at supermarkets and be like, you're spreading the fucking disease. Get out of here.
Yeah.
You're not running away to a magical place. You're like, half of you are certainly non-symptomatic and just spreading it willy-nilly. Like, I was like, oh, I mean, I laughed because it's just like, oh, Christ, people, fucking people. But
there is always that like push and pull in a tourist economy, especially around the ocean.
yes.
Like in Jersey, they're called bennies. And so it's always like when I was growing up, people always had like big signs on their front lawn, like Benny's go home. Because, it's like extra traffic. People are always like getting drunk and like pissing in yards and stuff.
Yeah.
But then also it's like the reason that most businesses can survive is because of the influx of cash. So it's like that balance of it. But yeah, Benny's go home, baby.
Where
to make up Benny's.
What is it? What's the Benny come from? What's that mean?
So there's multiple. I've heard two that, okay. And I think one is more correct. But the one I always understood growing up was that it stood for Bayonne, Elizabeth, Newark, and New York. And so those are all Bayonne, Elizabeth, and Newark are all northern New Jersey towns, and of course New York. So just people coming down from northern New Jersey. And northern New Jersey is essentially New York City, in my mind, because I'm from Central Jersey, baby, and Central Jersey does exist. That's the weirdest thing too. Northern New Jersey people say there's no Central Jersey, and it's like a very strange argument they like to have. But yeah, Central Jersey exists. And but then the other reason I heard, the other explanation for Benny's was that, and you see this in Boardwalk Empire. Mm-hmm. It's that the idea of the crisp, humid-filled ocean air in the 20s was thought to be good for like tuberculosis. Right. And so you would go down to get the benefits of being by the ocean. So there were the bennies.
Wow. Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah, and so you see it too, like in Boardwalk Empire, they just have like essentially old folks' homes on the beach, mm-hmm. and that still exists in Asbury. There's like Asbury Park has just like one giant tower. Now it has multiple because of luxury condos and stuff. But for the very longest time growing up, the only like tower on the beach was a retirement community, and it was like right there, like the greatest view, amazing. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's nuts. Like, I remember you and I kind of bonding over. It's an obvious, thing, but how horrible Atlantic City is.
Oh yeah.
It's just so sad.
It's so sad. Also, the only place in New Jersey that's 24-hour liquors. You can buy liquor 24 hours a day. It's like Vegas in that way. And you just see how it destroys a community. Do you know what I mean? You just see how it destroys a town. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
And it's very sad. It like the moment you walk off the boardwalk, it's like the saddest. I have a funny Atlantic City story. So my mom's side of the family, just ton of gamblers. Like just they gambled. They loved gambling. My mom didn't. My mom didn't gamble or drink really. I think because she learned.
Yeah.
But I would end up at Atlantic City a lot with like my uncles and stuff. And I must have been like 13 or something. And my mom had my uncle won like $25,000. He got it changed into cash. And then they came back to the hotel when I wasn't there and like put it in my shorts that were like hanging up. They were like drying, thinking like, no one's ever going to like, this is a good place to hide this, I guess, for some reason.
Okay.
And then I came back because I was like, I met this girl and I was like, I want to get changed into like my nice shorts or whatever.
Sure.
So I put these shorts on. There's $25,000 in the back pocket that I don't notice. And then I'm just out and about for like hours, like trying to impress this girl. And then I come back, and this is before cell phones, and they're just like, they're going crazy. Like, where have you been? And then he like reaches into the back pocket and like pulls out this like stack of bills. And I was like, oh, I didn't know, all of it was there. None of it was gone.
Oh, wow.
But it was that one of those like, why would you put it into the child's shorts? Like, that's such a crazy choice.
That's such a crazy choice. I mean,
also that I was just like running around Atlantic City by myself at 12 or whatever.
That like I was waiting for it to hear like, oh, and then I got back and someone had taken it out of the back of my like
no, still there.
Amazing. Yeah, like Kyle and I played there, 100 years ago.
No, really?
Yeah, and Kyle was this is back when Kyle first started to have a beard, and there's this comic named Butch Bradley who would throw shows there, and it was me, Kyle, and Natasha Leggero. And
where did you play?
Oh, damn it.
Like a casino?
Yes. And the audience was so old, they didn't get my Doors material.
Oh, wow.
It was like, wow, that was...
The Doors.
You didn't get that... So maybe your kids should come to the show. Like, it was all very old people, the entire audience, and they did not love us. So we would, go get drunk, and like we went to like this Irish bar that was like further down the boardwalk, and we were gonna get a cab, and I think Kyle, like, we got separated or something, and Kyle walked home along the beach, and I think passed out on the beach. And because he looked homeless, no one fucked him.
Yeah.
If I was with him, I would have got robbed, like, no doubt. But just because Kyle had like a little beat up beanie and his, fucked up jean jacket, and we were broke back then. But it was like, I just thought it was so funny that his natural camouflage, like,
fit right in to sleep on the beach in Atlantic City.
Well, like the four of us, my wife Kara and your wife Lauren and you and I, we went out and had like a super fun dinner.
Yeah.
Like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think so.
And that was one of those things I was thinking about after lockdown. I was like, oh, I want to get out and do that again with with parents, parent friends. Yeah. And so now I have like this little group of girl dads, like a couple little guys that will just go on like walks that they're really young, like small baby girls and stuff.
Yeah.
So like, and it's kind of this happy ending for all, like, because you and I definitely got into trouble and we get super fucking fucked up and stuff. Yeah. Not assholes.
No, happy.
But it's kind of like it. I think like, do you think like back then if someone pulled you aside and was like, you're gonna have 2 girls and be a great dad, do you think you would?
No, yeah, I always thought that I was gonna be a dad.
Okay.
Yeah, I was always just like, I just look like a dad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm just like
same.
from the get go. So yeah, no, I always knew I was gonna be a dad. I just didn't know when, and I think I'm happy that I waited. I do often now think more about death now that I have 2 kids. I think about my dying.
Yes.
Because it's like I can now conceive of my own mortality in terms of how old my children will be when I die. Yep. And so I'm like, oh, right. Like because I keep thinking in my head, like, okay, I just got to get them to 18 and then they'll either leave the house or they'll go to college.
Sure.
and then I'm like, okay, can I still do things at 60? Like, you know what I mean? Like, can I? Because I want to walk the Pacific Crest Trail. And I'm like, can I do that at 60? I hope I can. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's that would be amazing for me. Is like, as I get Gus or Olive, like their 18th year, the summer before they go to college, like, let's walk for a month on the PCT.
Yeah.
Who knows if they are interested in that at all? I have no idea. I just took Olive camping for the first time. That was pretty fucking awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of work.
My dad took me. We biked the entire Oregon coast.
Whoa, really?
Like 12, and like
really.
Well, it was like a thing where they would do it. You like sign up and pay, and it's like, and they drive vans between stops, and then they set up tents for you and stuff, and they have your stuff, and you take it out and you pick up your tent and stuff. And so me and my dad just did that, and I got my, like, there, we were crossing a bridge, and my spokes caught the sleeping bag of a homeless man, and then so it went to slowed to a crawl, and I think somebody, it might have been my dad, someone else hit my bike from behind. I flew over the handlebars and landed on my back.
Ooh.
But the thing is, I had my helmet on, so I had the wind knocked out of me. That's it. But it was the thing of, it's just as long as you take the precautions.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're taking the precautions, I think, like, you're taking care of yourself and stuff. It's like, that's, you mentioned like looking good and stuff. It's like, I pretty much exercise for that reason. Yeah. So I can, like, be at Rose's high school graduation, and not be that sad story where it's just like, yeah, he just went. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. He hadn't hiked in years and just tried to take this crazy hill and his heart exploded. So
I also like how Oregon that story is. It's like, I thought it was going to be that like your wheel got caught in like the grooves of the bridge. Nope, it's a homeless man's sleeping bag. Oregon.
Did he throw it to the side? I don't know.
I don't know, right?
I don't know how it worked. I don't know what happened. So do you get asked advice like on the main? I ask everybody that on the company.
No, okay. I don't ever get. Well, I guess, you get the typical as a stand-up, like you get the typical like questions about stand-up, and it's never satisfying. Do you know what I mean?
No.
There's never a satisfying answer to any question about stand-up, because the answer is just do it for 10 years and then maybe you'll be good.
Hell. Yeah. The answer is hell. And it's funny, like, I mean, that's most people's answers. When people go, it's really rare that someone, I think Aparna's was my favorite answer ever, because she just said, I do, but I think it's because they know I won't say anything mean or because she's such a sweetie, they're just like, I'm sure there was a time where she'd get cornered backstage and was like, what'd you think of my set? Like, really, can you just be honest? And then like, please don't, please be nice. I'm not asking anyone else, please. So I don't know what these calls are. People just call in and leave a message. I have no clue. So if you're ready.
I'm ready.
First one. Okay.
Let's do it.
Hey, Matt and Kurt. This is Ever. I saw your number on Kurt's Instagram story, and I thought, man, I miss these guys. Really just calling to say, hey, I hope y'all are both well. I think the only thing I really need help with at the moment is having patience with my landlord. He wants to convert my one-bedroom apartment into 2-studio apartments, and he won't stop harassing me about it and telling me that I'm unwilling to compromise, even though that we have signed a lease that I live in a one-bedroom apartment. Again, he did say I could live through the construction, as he split my apartment in half, and he would give me a reduced rent once construction was finished and my one bedroom was turned into a studio. Just any advice for inner peace and forgiveness, and really any tenants union advice you might have, or tenants rights advice would be greatly appreciated. Okay, guys, I hope you're well. Bye-bye.
Ever, thank you so much, and thanks for the good wishes and kind words. I will say this: I am a landlord. I own a house in Portland. I have tenants. They have not been able to pay for many, many months, but thank God Oregon has a landlord relief fund, and so I got a portion paid because I'm paying a mortgage on this house too. And it's not the tenant's right to pay my mortgage. It is an investment property. You know, I'm not going to Airbnb it, but it's like, I like when the, you know, rent mortgage gets covered and I have that little piece of, you know, my hometown. That's why I bought the house. Didn't buy it to make money. But that said, you know, I never was like, if I ever was like, I want to turn this into two-place people, I would have to get that person's express permission. I would have to give them money to move if I wanted to do that. Or, so bottom line, what I'm saying from the other side of things, your landlord is bullshit.
Yeah.
He can't do that. And
no, that's insane.
Him harassing you is illegal.
It's 100% illegal.
Intimating that you can't, that you like, look, you're being unreasonable. It's like, yeah, I get it. It's his property, but you have an ironclad contract. And I think, honestly, depending on your state, even if you didn't have that contract, if that's your home, you probably could fight this.
Yep.
So you are being very sweet, and you obviously don't want bad vibes, and I get that. But I think you kind of might want to contact a lawyer and draw a line in the sand. And
I think 100% you need to get a lawyer. You need to get a lawyer immediately. See if someone will like just take it on, because you'll definitely win. Also, here's what you could do is you could use it into what Matt just said, having them pay to relocate you and get like some money out of it. Because you can't just turn somebody's home into 2 studios. Like that's illegal and insane.
Yeah.
So you're in your rights. Fuck this guy. I can't give you patience on this one because this guy's in the wrong.
No, if that was something I genuinely wanted to do with a property I owned, I would go step by step with the person and go, is this something you'd comfortable with? And they're just like, I'm really not. I just want to stay in here. It's just like, well, it looks like I'm just going to have to wait or incentivize this person by giving them money to move.
Yeah.
I would have to. You know, if the lease was up, we could kind of talk, but I think even if it was up, I would still have to enter into negotiations with the person if I'm not mistaken. Because that's that especially in this climate,
right now to do that right now.
Yeah, where people are not doing that well, and you know maybe this is the landlord's way of doing better. Maybe he's not doing great and stuff, but it's kind of like, yeah, but that is kind of someone's home. So, you know, and it's also like, hey, is it cool if I cut your place in half and you live in a place that's half the size? That's you, right? Is that cool? Yeah. Oh, that's tough. So sorry to hear that. Oh my goodness. Anything else?
I just lawyer. Yeah. And if you don't want a lawyer, that's fine, but just know that you have the rights here.
Yeah. Yeah.
That he can't do that. And I think if you just talk that way to him, you know, he's manipulating you, and he's assuming that you just don't know that you're in the right. And if you talk to him from a position of I live here, so therefore I have the rights on the fact that I live here, you can't just kick me out. He might just change his tune a little bit or ask for money to move.
Yeah, and it's tough because, you know, it's so funny. I'm thinking of, you know, my neighbors who I mentioned when we moved here. They were, you know, they don't blare their music a lot, but when we moved here 3 years ago, they were one night they were blaring, and it got to be late, and Kara was sick, and I was like, hey, can you turn it down? And this lady like yelled at me like a blue streak, cursing, and I was like, oh, and I was like, and she did turn it down. I was like, okay, thanks. And I went to bed and I was depressed because I'm like, I share a fence with this person, man.
Yeah.
I bought this house, you know? But now, like, I've been to barbecues at their house. Shit's cool, you know? Like, we kind of squashed it and stuff. But it is that thing of proximity where you are living in this place that you have to have these business dealings with the person. And you I think, what you're worried about is you think you're poisoning it. But if it's poisoned, you're not poisoning it. He is.
Yeah,
so you
exactly.
have to keep that in mind and go, well, I just have to take care of myself here. And if he catches feelings one way or the other, be cordial, be polite, but give him no ammunition when it comes to, this tenant is unruly or anything like that, because he'll probably just use it. Just be like firm, but I'm sorry, this is my home. I don't want it cut in half. And if you want to cut it in half, you got to pay me to move. So, yeah.
Speaking of cutting in half, there's and just a slow plug, not a slow plug, a mild plug for my podcast, Bananas. All that strange news.
You guys have to listen to Bananas. It's so fucking funny. These the two of you guys are so great on that pod.
Oh, thank you, Matt. But there was a story that we covered in Maine. Maine is a crazy state. Where it was a property dispute. Somebody built the garage in their backyard without checking on where the property line was. So built the garage over into another person's property. And so then that person, after like months and years of fighting about it, he just built when they went away for a weekend, he built a fence that went down the property line and then just sawed in half the whole garage and put a fence there. It looks so fucking crazy. Maine.
Maine. Fuck, it is the wild frontier.
It really is.
I love far out places, edge of the world kind of shit. It's so great. So hilarious. Maine. But that's great. But okay, so Ever, I hope that helps you. I mean, good, what a thing. But keep your head up and don't let it get you down. Hope that helps. Caller number 2.
Hi, Matt and Kurt. My name's Ryan. I'm an absolute 27-year-old adult baby who has no idea how to deal with quote-unquote adulting life. I just had to have my boyfriend put the keys in the car and start them. Basically, I'm so bad at even being inside my own head. I feel like I always need a babysitter. If you guys have felt that way into your early 20s, please put it on your podcast, because I feel like the last of a dying breed. If any of this makes any sense, there you go. Yeah, that's it. Love you guys. Bye.
Okay, well, I got the first call, so you take first crack this one.
Oh man, I don't worry about it. I feel like, and I've always felt this way, until you're 30, maybe 35, you are like, at least for me, like I didn't even start doing stand-up until I was 29. I started stand-up at 29. So up until 29, like my life entirely changed at 29 years old. And that's when I was in a 13-year relationship from age 18 to 31. And then that kind of came about and ended because of the fact that I think that I changed my life around 29, but also because of the fact that I kind of like stopped being in a child mode that was my 20s. Yeah. And it is, also your brain just stopped like reforming. The plasticity of your brain is like very fluid until 25. And at 25, it kind of hardens a little bit more. So your brain just stopped doing its like growth, So give yourself a bit of slack on this one. Don't worry about it too much. And you have time. Fuck around as much as you want. You got time. I mean, unless you get hit by a car tomorrow. And I hope that doesn't happen.
Well, and like, I bet you're also not giving yourself as much credit as you could and should, caller, because I'm one of those people who is always like, man, Russell can change an engine. Like there's always someone that can do stuff that you consider an adult, but I mean, there are people who've kept their checkbooks balanced their entire lives, but are emotionally crippled and are very abusive to people they call their friends. Like it's how really what defines adulthood kind of comes down to what you can kind of consider responsibility. For me, I think it's you cherish the people around you and do your best to kind of protect them and love them and stuff. And you probably do that with your friends. You have a boyfriend. That means you have a relationship. It's kind of, I think what we kind of term adulting is kind of been evil on certain levels. A lot of it you can learn pretty darn fast. And it's, yeah, back to what Kurt said, you have so much fucking time. That's the thing of like, there's a lot of people who's like, don't waste it. Ugh. But I think a lot of those people might have had kids at 20. A lot of those kids, or people might have started down irreparable paths kind of back in those days where now you have a billion options. And the problem now is to not go crazy choosing one, because eventually you kind of do have to choose one. But, I just think you need to give yourself some space and some time per what Kurt said, and give yourself some credit per what I said.
Yeah. And also, if there's certain things that you don't like about your life, you can focus on them and fix them or change them so that you're happy. Like, for instance, maybe spend some time sitting in the car identifying all the parts.
Yeah.
Like, this is the big wheel, and these are the flippers on the side, and this is where we put the key in the engine. You can take the time to understand and learn, and then you don't have to feel like you're inadequate.
Yeah.
That's what I always felt about, like, this is such a weird like connection to make, but about you and I both would do like panel shows a lot when we were like coming up. And I always remember not like just being like, oh man, like seeing someone and being like, oh, they're just so funny off the cuff. And they just always have like a good opener, until I realized they just prepared. They just wrote a funny thing to say beforehand. And I was like, oh, that's it. It's that easy. I've been out here trying to just like be fresh and like ready. And it's just like, no, I just would write something or have an idea at least of something to like get into the conversation with, and then it would make things so much easier. And so it's just something I really disliked about myself, thinking that it was some sort of failure that I had. But I then realized, oh no, I just need to actually do the work.
There literally is. We all at one point thought comedians just went up there and talked.
Yes.
At some point in our lives. There's one comedian who thought that and did that, and it worked, and his name is Dave Chappelle. He was like 17. He'd get on stage and just rattle off whatever was in his crazy head, and it would crush. Like, he's a savant.
Yeah.
Like he's beyond, your typical comedian to say the absolute least. But that's exactly it. A little bit of understanding, a little bit of preparation for the thing, and just understanding the pieces, the parts on a car, and what to kind of do and what to not do. I mean, when I had an older person kind of pull me aside and go, "Oh no, you're thinking it's this, it's not that, it's this," and you're like, "Oh, all this time I had this preconceived notion," and I think that also goes, caller, for your notion of what an adult is.
Yeah, I mean, like, for 10 years, I would get in the car and stick the keys straight up my asshole and then just wait for it to turn on. And it took 10 years until I figured out that was not how you turned a car on. But you know what? I learned, and you can too.
I thought you had to do something to make yourself feel good with a part of the car. I taught Matt Dwyer how to drive a stick when he was in his 40s.
Oh, wow.
We were both PAs on a lot, picking up lunches and driving DVDs around town to give people clips and scripts and things for this horrible production company we worked for. And he bought a car and he went, "Fuck, it's a stick." And
He bought a car that was stick and didn't know.
Yeah. I bought it off a friend of ours in a bar, and so the next night I just took him out in the hills of Echo Park and drive a stick, and he got it in like less than an hour. And he got, like a lot of people, addicted to driving a manual because it's fun, So see that, like, it's kind of never too late for most things.
It's
unless
never
you want to be
too
like
late.
A model.
I think about that, the idea of never too late, because I would love to go back to school for something. I would love to go take some college courses, take some philosophy courses or something. That would be so exciting.
That would be fantastic. You know what? If I get rich in my old age, I think I might do that and just go and like
Yeah.
go to whatever what's the best college around. I'm gonna take like a literature class or something about
Yeah.
some like a specialized. Oh God,
That'd be
yeah,
great.
that sounds fantastic. Yeah. Okay, so hope that helps. All right, ready for our last call, Kurt?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm ready. You were asking. I thought you were like ready for our last call, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm ready. I was looking for the number to change to
might have-
3.
Okay, so roll it. Sorry.
Hey, Braunger. Previous caller from a previous podcast, and your advice has helped me out a lot. So I turn to you now. I broke my
Sweet.
ankle and can't walk, can't do anything, just enjoying life here on the couch. But I'm also a single dad who has to care for 2 children and get them around and all sorts of fun stuff. So the big question is, how much do I need to drink that won't impede the parenting? Because this is rough, man. All right, thanks.
Kurt, did you think I thought let's just first start with what did you think he was going to ask? I thought it was going to be like, how much should I pay for childcare, or is childcare worth it? What did you think it was going to be?
I thought it was going to be drinking, because that's because it does. There is. It is 2 kids is like there. You do sometimes require a drink to handle 2 children. I can't doing it. I've done 2 kids on my own before, and I will again. My heart and my mind goes out to all single parents, whether you have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. It is fucking tough, man. It is so difficult.
Yeah.
And I know the drinking it seems so good. It definitely doesn't help in the morning. It makes it everything is so much harder. I find I'm much more irritable. I mean, I still drink, but I find I'm much more irritable with the kids. I have less time for them. And that's just such a bummer, because there's nothing I like better than to drink and hang out with them, because it makes boring activities, because that is like you love your children and everything, but for the most part, the majority of stuff they do is incredibly repetitive.
Yeah.
It's incredibly boring. You love them. There's so much love there, but it's not like you're very engaged with like pushing this car again and again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
When you're drunk, it's a little bit easier. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna give you a real answer.
Okay.
I'm gonna say have enough drinks so that you don't feel hungover in the morning. So you get a good buzz on, but you're not hungover the next day. You got to walk that fine line.
Yes, and make sure you drink lots of water too.
Yes, right before you go to bed.
To easing up the headache. And I would stay away from shots and and also, man, if you can, maybe look into some childcare if you're a single parent, with a broken ankle. I mean, the first thing I was like, fuck, one of them takes off, your ass out, like come back here. Or what?
I also want to know how old they are. Like if they're babies, oh, that's rough as shit. If they're a little older and can function with you just like saying, do this, do that.
Right. We'll at least go downstairs backwards and not fall downstairs.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. So I think Kurt nailed it. That Kurt gave what the community would say would be a perfect answer. I think so. I got nothing to add, but it is that thing where don't let the night you ruin the day of the morning you, because it is. I mean, like a real. Yeah, I've been like, I'm a little rusty, or I got a little bit of a headache, but like a real hangover. Doggies. That is
unbearable.
Brutal. And you feel so fucking guilty, and you feel like such a piece of shit, because you are. And you're like, everything's, you're irritable. You're good for nobody. And it's extra heartbreaking for you, because you can't just go lie down. You can't just go lie on the couch and watch whatever comes up on Netflix. You can't.
What a dream.
You can't. What a dream. Well, we'll have that dream again in 16, 17 years. So, and that's the ball game. Anything you want to plug?
Yeah, guys, Bananas is the podcast of me and my co-host Scotty Landis, talking strange news with fantastic guests. Go check it out. You're going to love it.
Yeah, I was glad to find Bananas because it's like I always have to have those ones that are really well produced and just fun.
Yeah, it's just light and funny and goofy.
I feel like Bananas is like that. Ben Roy's the Rat Race, the fake morning show he does. Fucking kills me. Christian Duguay's Valley Heat. To me, I think that's probably the funniest podcast that exists. It's just it's all written, and it's just a guy in the Equestrian District of Burbank who just is like gets into tiffs with his neighbors and records them, and it's all it's so I can't describe how funny it is.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Everybody, listen to Bananas, and dude, man, it was so great to see you and great to have you on the show.
Thank you. Oh, so one more thing too. When does this come out?
This will be this Thursday, man.
This Thursday, great. So this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'm at Philly and at the Helium Comedy Club in Philly, June 17th, 18th, 19th, and then in August 5th, 6th, 7th, I'm in Lafayette, Louisiana, Houston, Texas, and then College Station. And then October 23rd, I'm at Hamden, Connecticut at the Space Ballroom.
Oh my God, all those places you're going are great.
Yeah, it'll be really fun.
I love all those shows. I'm doing a couple of those too. But anyway, like same night. No, but anyway, dude, love you, man. It was great to have you on. Appreciate you jumping on. Say hi to Lauren and the gal.
I will. Send my love to the family as well.
I will, man.
All right. Bye-bye.
Oh my God, you guys, another perfect episode in the bag. If you need advice from a couple ding-dongs or hoo-has or just fun people or maybe an expert, who knows who I might have on, call 323-763-0228. That's 323-763-0228. Thanks.
This Might Help with Matt Braunger was created and hosted by me, Matt Braunger. Produced by Outer Circle Media. Executive producers Matt Kleinschmidt and Robert Kelly for the Laugh Button Podcasts.